What's going on, everybody? This is Brian Mazik, aka Unique Mazik, the hardest working man in sports and gaming, and we're here talking about Madden 20. I wrote up a piece on Forbes about the cover athlete being announced, and a couple of the new, or the two, really the only two new features that were announced so far. So, could clearly everything's not out there yet, but they started off kind of unveiling a few things. So I'm going to go over everything pretty much that was dropped yesterday and give you a little bit of my reaction to it. So I had posted a video and written an article about the cover athlete and the people who I thought were candidates for the cover athlete. And I had a little bit of a philosophy and maybe what turned out to be a little bit of an over analysis of their cover athlete choice. I thought it might be time for a defensive player, but and maybe originally that was the plan, right? That might have been the plan originally, but because of the overwhelming, amazing season that Patrick Mahomes had for the Kansas City Chiefs, it was absolutely worthy of abandoning the plan if going defense was the original plan. I mean, very rarely will you get a player to come along that has the the impact that Patrick Mahomes had from a statistical standpoint, as well as from a popular culture standpoint. Mahomes just took over. I mean, he was the guy everybody was talking about. And when that's the case, you're kind of silly if you don't, capitalize on that and approach him about being the cover athlete. I know a lot of people, Chiefs fans, are worried about Madden curses and all that. I wouldn't be. I'm not a person who actually believes in that anyway. And Mahomes is just supremely confident, supremely talented, and he's a guy who, no matter, he's one of those guys that have come along that no matter the fact that he doesn't play for my team, I'm a Bears fan, have been my whole life. Doesn't matter. I root for Patrick Mahomes because he's that dude. I mean, he is that guy that when you're looking at him performing, you like, yeah, this. I mean, if you really love football, it's kind of hard not to, take some enjoyment in watching him play. So I do think it was a fantastic choice for him as the cover athlete. The next thing I want to talk about is the release date. This is unless I am mistaken, and I don't think that I am, this is the earliest release date in Madden history, I think. August the 2nd. Now, we are used to the third Tuesday in August, and you have some early release or early access with the game here and there, but we're looking at August the 2nd, and the early access, if you pre-order the Ultimate Superstar Edition, gets you the game on July 30th. We're moving all the way into college football season, or when the college football game used to come out, which is something that's really interesting because I want to talk about that a little bit later on in this video. But I think that Electronic Arts is recognizing that they were um, getting a certain piece of the consumer pie back when they had a college football game. Nobody knows exactly when that might be returning, but as of right now, they don't have a college football game. So instead of banking sales of of a football video game through July and then into August and owning literally for those first 2.5 months before NBA 2K, FIFA, and NHL start to come out, they weren't getting that just by having Madden come out in August. So now they're going to be getting a piece of that in July, because people are going to be really dropping pre-orders in July and knowing that they'll be getting it at the end of that month. I think that's a significant reason for bumping it up. Now, one of my concerns, and I voiced this concern last night on At Me Bro. If you haven't got an opportunity to watch that show or check us out, myself and Nelson Blake do a weekly show on Thursday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern time. As I mentioned, it's called the At Me Bro Show. You can open up another tab in YouTube and just search At Me Bro Show, and please subscribe. to that channel. But we talked about this yesterday, and one of the concerns that I had was I really hope that the earlier release date isn't automatically or directly equated to a shorter development cycle. And Nelson brought up the point, and it could be this case. Neither of us know this at this point, but it could be a situation where they devoted more resources to the development of this year's game, so that even though the game is coming out earlier, they actually still have more man hours, or they had more human hours being worked on the game. So it won't be something that was rushed and put together quicker than previous versions. Lord knows Madden does not need to be rushed, right? If anything, I'm a 100% proponent of them skipping a year and going to an every other year cycle and giving updates throughout the year. So that's a whole other subject that goes beyond the Madden franchise and goes into all sports video games on a whole. But I'm a little I'm excited to get to see the game early for sure, just as a sports video game fan. But I am a little bit cautious about an earlier release, because earlier release doesn't automatically mean better or a good thing. But if they have been able to devote the same or more hours to the development of the game, then it'll be a plus. It'll be a win-win. If I get an opportunity to speak to someone from EA, I will ask that question to find out, to try to get a gauge on how that worked out. So the next thing I want to talk about is one of the features that they announced yesterday, which is probably the biggest feature so far. Clearly, they only announced two, but this one is a big deal because it's directly associated with the cover athlete, and it's an extension of the connected franchise, or however you want to call it, their franchise mode now, and it's called Face of the Franchise QB1. And essentially, it's like it's a more, I would say, specific version of the superstar mode that they've had, or some variation of it that they've had for the past several years, where you take control of one position or one player and you guide them through their entire career. Now, Face of the Franchise QB1 is obviously related to playing quarterback, and it's somewhat related to Patrick Mahomes and some of his journey. So what they've done is they have brought in some element of college football for this particular game and for this particular mode. And that definitely is going to have people excited. You can create your own quarterback from the beginning. From there, you choose between one of 10 colleges that they have licensed. So you can either go to USC, Texas, Texas Tech, Oregon, Miami, LSU, Florida State, Oklahoma, Florida, or Clemson. No Alabama, no Notre Dame. All right. So you pick between which college. And then they also have the license to the college football playoff, the actual college football playoff logo and everything. You are charged with dominating the college football playoff. You'll play in at least 2 games of the college football playoff. That was shared in some information on EA's website. From there, you go to the combine, and they said you have to impress the scouts. So I would back in the day, they had some really cool combine like features where you did bench press and you did all these different types of training things that I think they should go back to. The 40-yard dash. I really think they should go back to that concept and reintroduce it based on this particular era of game, and I think it would be fantastic. I don't know if they're going to go that deep with it. They really should. It doesn't sound like it from the brief explanation that was given. They're saying that you basically throw some passes. I'll actually read to you what it says. It says, as a quarterback prospect, you'll be asked a couple of questions by NFL coaches and then throw passes to receivers at the combine. After you finish this process, you'll then wait to find out where you will be drafted in the league. So it really, I think that if it was more to it than that, they would have stated some of that in this particular, little description, as opposed to keeping it so, brief. So I don't know for a fact. It's, I'm a little scared of this feature because it sounds like to me it could be something that is blown up to be bigger than it actually turns out to be. Um, yeah, you have the college football experience in there, and that's going to be cool to see. But it's almost like you're just taking tidbits of long shot and tidbits of little things that you already had in the franchise mode or the connected franchise mode experience, and you're kind of smashing it all together, but not actually creating anything that's brand new. Now, the one element that does make this or could make this new is the scenario. It's something called the scenario engine. And the scenario engine is designed to dynamically create these different objectives and different tasks for you to do as you go through your individual experience. So, therefore, it's like playing my career, and instead of being locked into the same cutscenes that everybody else is gonna see, you're seeing different ones based off of what's going on with you. But the thing of it is I don't think they're going to be cutscenes. I think it could just manifest itself in the form of some challenges and that sort of thing. So I don't know exactly how that's going to break down, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's somewhat promising, but then on the other hand, I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried of how big, how deep it's going to go. So we'll see. We'll see for sure. They're going to be getting into it in depth on Thursday, May 2nd. They'll be going over it at 7 p.m. Eastern time on a Twitch stream on the Madden Twitch channel. They're also going to be making public a an article or a post about it. The FIFA franchise uses something called pitch notes, and that's how they update their community about updates and patches and different changes and things that are coming to the game. Where this year, Madden's going to do something called gridiron notes that works very similar to that. So we'll find out about the latest career campaign and how those details work in more depth on May the 2nd. So that's just next week. So it's pretty, this is kind of moving kind of fast, right? The next big feature that they talked about is called the Superstar X Factors. Now, originally, when I heard about this, I was underwhelmed. I was like, I don't know. But now I'm a little bit more optimistic about it. So it says in total, there will be around 50 superstar X Factor players and over 30 additional superstar players. The difference between the two are the zone abilities and superstar abilities. Zone abilities are best described as a once a season moments that only the league's best can pull off, while superstar abilities are traits that are unique to some of the most talented players that you see each and every game. In total, there are 20 zone abilities for the 50 superstar X Factor players and over 140 superstar abilities. Each game, you will see and feel the difference because of these special traits. Now, this is something that I think is really smart from a marketing standpoint for Madden to do, because we always look at the ratings updates and the ratings unveils, right? Where they're rolling out the different ratings for the players, and people are generally plugged in. Now they've already told us right now that there are going to be 50 superstar X Factor players. They can roll out the 50, and it can almost be as if these are the 50 best players in the NFL. And we all know how well countdowns and listicles and that sort of thing do across the internet, across all these different social media platforms. There's a lot of attention that they can drum up and drive with this game, even more than it's already going to have naturally, because it's the only licensed NFL video game. But that top 50 discussion can be a real thing throughout this entire hype period. I'm also excited about how it's going to function. I want to see how it works. What are these abilities going to be that these superstar players can do that everybody else can't do? Is it going to be something over the top that makes me go, what is that? What is that really going on? I mean, it's almost like it's a variation or a signature version of Takeover in NBA 2K. I don't know exactly how it's going to look, but it's something similar to that. It seems, because it's a way to individualize the best players. So we'll see. Individuality is something that I do think is needed in a football game, in a football video game, because you can somewhat lose the identity of a player just from a physical standpoint because you can't see their faces. They all have on equipment, what have you. But if there's a superstar X factor player, I'm almost watching for this special thing that he can do that most other people on the field cannot do. So I'm interested in that. You'll learn more about that on Thursday, May 9th, 7 p.m. Eastern time. It'll be on the Twitch channel as well. And I'm sure they will post a gridiron note about that too. The following week, May 16th, they'll get into Madden Ultimate Team. And then the following week, they'll do gameplay updates, playbooks, run pass options, just overall improvements. That's also the day, which I talked about this last night on At Me Bro. That's also the date that they're supposed to talk about legacy issues. That's a big deal. If you've been playing Madden for a long time, as I have, then you know that's a big deal. I'm really going to be paying attention to May 23rd to see what legacy issues they are saying that they have addressed. Because I'm going to be honest, there have been times in the past where they've said that they have addressed the legacy issue, and I've not noticed the change. So we'll find out if that takes place. We won't really find out on May 23rd. We'll get the first claim on May 23rd. You really won't know until you play the game. So the following week is the following update comes on May 30th, and that's going to be associated with Madden Mobile. I'll be honest with you, I have yet to really get into Madden Mobile. I do acknowledge that it is a pretty tight mobile game and has been for a while, but I'm just not a major mobile gamer at this point. So maybe at some point somebody will convert me, or a game will convert me, but I'm not there yet. So I'll pay attention, but we'll see how it all goes overall. So that is all I got for you guys today. I appreciate everybody popping in. I've been dropping these little tidbits here and there, trying to get some gameplay in on the channel as well. I'll be getting into. I've been playing a lot of Mortal Kombat, so I'm going to share some of that with you guys too. And I'm going to keep dropping Mazik Speaks. The whole show drops on Tuesdays, and then I drop the individual segments throughout the week leading up to that. So keep an eye out for that as well. Like I said, I appreciate you watching as always. God bless and peace.